Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Russia is threatening us with destruction. Ukraine warns Putin he will bear very painful consequences if troops cross the border as buildup continues and America U-turns on sending ships to the Black Sea. Ukraine has warned Russia that it will bear very painful consequences if it invades as Vladimir Putin continues to mass his forces in Eastern Europe. Dmytro Kuleba, the country's foreign minister, said today that Moscow is openly threatening Ukraine with destruction by stationing 80,000 troops along its border, with more arriving every day. He issued the warning following a meeting with the foreign ministers of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, NATO allies in the region, saying the four of us condemn the exacerbation of the situation by Russia. The world is on the side of Ukraine and international law, and this is one of the elements of restraining Russia from reckless actions, he added. He spoke as it was revealed that Washington had U-turned on a decision to send 2 warships into the Black Sea, a day after Russia warned them to stay away for their own good. Turkey, which policies the straits which leads to the sea, said on Tuesday that permission for 2 warships to pass through was abruptly cancelled with no explanation given. Elsewhere, it was revealed that Joe Biden is preparing to slap sanctions on Russia in response to bounties put on American troops in Afghanistan, attempts to interfere in U.S. elections, and the SolarWinds cyber attack of federal government data which U.S. intelligence services blame on Moscow. Sanctions are likely to include the expulsion of 10 Russians from the U.S., including diplomats, extending a ban on U.S. banks trading Russian sovereign debt, and targeted measures against 30 Russian entities, U.S. media reported, saying the move could happen as soon as today. In response, Putin spokesman Dmitry Peskov warned that Moscow will respond in kind to any illegal measures, adding that it will not help the prospect of talks between Biden and Putin. He added that it is too early to talk about de-escalating tensions along the Ukraine border despite Biden's calls for restraint earlier in the week. In fact, leaked Ukrainian intelligence suggests Russia could increase troop numbers even further to 110,000 alongside 7,000 tanks, the largest force massed in the region since the 2014 annexation of Crimea. Ukraine's defense minister has also warned a meeting of NATO leaders that Russia could be preparing to move nukes into Crimea, a hugely provocative move that would drag the region closer to all-out war. Biden has also offered to hold a summit with Putin in an attempt to cool relations, a move which has been hailed in Moscow as evidence that the U.S. had blinked first in the standoff. It was a very important step forward, news on a global scale, said Konstantin Kozachev, chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Russian Parliament's upper house. It was Biden who asked for yesterday's phone call. Biden called and Biden wanted to talk about a summit, pro-Kremlin talk show host Vladimir Solovyov said on his morning radio program. Referring to the U.S. readout, he said, 200 words. But where are those on human rights? Not a word on gays in Chechnya, not a word on LGBT+, and especially not a single word on Navalny. Fyodor Lukyanov, editor-in-chief of the journal Russia in Global Affairs, said the Kremlin would see Biden's invitation now as an about-face. In Russia, the prospect of a meeting will be presented as a major achievement, and in a sense it is, because not long ago Biden said offensive things about Putin and, when asked to talk, said there was no time, he said. Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov has said the Russian president is studying plans for a summit, but added that it is too early to discuss specifics. Russia has called neighboring Finnish leader Sauli Niinisto, where the last summit between Trump and Putin was held, but no details have been announced. In another sign that Biden is now softening his tone towards Moscow, the deployment of 2 U.S. destroyers into the Black Sea was cancelled last night. Turkey had originally confirmed that Washington had asked for permission for 2 warships, the USS Donald Cook and USS Roosevelt, to transit through straits which it polices and into the Black Sea in a move that was assumed to be a deterrent to Putin. But last night Turkey said the U.S. Embassy in Ankara had notified the Foreign Ministry of the decision, without giving a reason. U.S. officials were not immediately available for comment. Russia's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, has previously denied plans to invade Ukraine, saying that Russia is merely carrying out training exercises in response to a NATO troop buildup and drills near its border. On Thursday, Russian news channels played what appeared to be old military footage of supply drops in Alaska and Bulgaria, claiming they showed NATO forces in Ukraine. NATO denies any buildup in the country. There are now thought to be some 40,000 Russian troops in the region, massing at a military camp south of the city of Voronezh, along with tanks, artillery, armored personnel carriers, missile launchers and support vehicles. Another 30,000 pro-Russian rebel troops are also stationed in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, where they are engaged in a years-long fight with Ukrainian forces that has largely reached a stalemate. An additional 40,000 Russian troops are also stationed in Crimea, where the Black Sea Fleet is based, along with reinforcements being moved across from the Caspian Sea. At a meeting of NATO defense and foreign ministers in Brussels yesterday, Mr. Turan voiced his concerns that troops in Crimea would be used to stage substantive military provocations, including the potential of nukes being moved into the region. Crimea's infrastructure is being prepared for potentially storing nuclear weapons, Mr. Turan told the European Parliament's Defense Subcommittee. The very presence of nuclear munitions in the peninsula may spark a whole array of complex political, legal, and moral problems. He spoke just hours after ships of the Black Sea Fleet staged a snap-live-fire drill, firing missiles at both sea level and aerial targets. Russian state TV showed two missile ships, the Graveron and the Vyshny Volochysk, taking part in sea level and aerial target practice alongside a missile hovercraft, a frigate, and a minesweeping ship. The drill, described as a combat readiness check by Russian officials, was staged shortly before the USS Donald Cook and the USS Roosevelt were expected to arrive and before the missions was called off. The Graveron and Vyshny Volochysk are Bayan-M-class missile corvettes and are armed with 100mm naval guns, anti-ship cruise missile launchers, anti-air cruise missile launchers, and anti-submarine hardware. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov had previously warned the American vessels to stay away for their own good and said there was a risk of incidents between the US and Russian ships. He added, "There is absolutely nothing for American ships to be doing near our shores. This is purely a provocative action. If there is any aggravation, we will do everything to ensure our security and safety. But Kiev and its allies in the West will be entirely responsible for the consequences." Ukraine staged its own exercise, with troops rehearsing repelling a tank and infantry attack near the border with Crimea. If you liked this video, hit the notification button for more news from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Thank you for watching.